Hi, this is Lucy, your clarity coach, and this is Tuesday Talks at 3. Welcome to the Intentional Parenting series, where we cover what truly matters, especially when you have adult children. Lovely to see you here, Mwikali. Are you able to hear me clearly? If you could just share that with me, I'd be really appreciative. Mwikali, can you hear me? If you can just drop me some kind of sign there, then I'll know that I'm doing well. We have 5 episodes when it comes to this particular series. And the first episode is on decision making. And we've already done that. Thank you so much, Rhoda, for that confirmation. And I may drop, thank you so much. I may drop off for a few seconds because my internet connectivity today is misbehaving, as technology will do at times, but we need to keep this focus. So our first episode on intentional parenting series was about decisions. And in decision making, it is key as a parent that you know what it is that you need to get done. So where do you start? We went to fundamentals. In fact, people from my part of the world call it fundamentals. So we went to the fundamentals. And the fundamentals were core values. It is key for you to know what your core values are. And once you get a hang of what these core values are, only then can you check in and align with your daily activities. It sounds easier said than done, but actually I have a course that is starting on the 28th and ending on the 29th of October. And on this course, we'll be talking about your identifying of core values and then aligning them on the second night. So for 1,000 shillings, you will get 180 minutes of time with me on virtual, and we will be talking about what's important to you, what makes you tick, why does it make you tick, and then how can you show up in that way. So for 1,000 shillings, you want to just drop here, right here in the comments, vibes, V-I-B-E-S, and I'll give you more information. However, back to today's session. So in this intentional parenting series, we talk about decisions, which are key. So as parents, especially when you have adult children, you need to understand why you're doing what. Because if you keep on changing tracks, that's why life is confusing. If we are going in one direction all the time, thank you so much, Rhoda, I see you right there. So every time you keep on changing one thing that you say, this is the way we are doing things at home, and then tomorrow you change, you're confusing your adult children because now they don't know what is true for this time when they're living with you. So being able to make decisions, sticking with it is not the easiest thing, but let me tell you the joy. Once you're able to align yourself, you keep on course correcting. Then we moved on to our next episode, which is traditions. Thank you so much, Alicia. Facts indeed. When we looked at traditions, that was our special edition on celebrating the World Mental Health Day. And for that particular episode, if you missed it, because it was amazing, it's on my YouTube channel. And there I had a special guest who is the chairperson of the Mental Wellness Association of Kenya. Why did I bring her on board? Because the theme for this year is about workplace mental health. But then I thought, how do I then show up at work with that mental wellness? How do I nurture it if I don't know where I'm coming from? So you're coming from home, and at home there are traditions. There are certain traditions that we do at home without even knowing, and that is what aligns us to who we are in that home. So you've heard people say loosely in Kenyanese, kwetu hatuko hivyo, or kwetu hatufanyi hivyo. That means, loosely translated, that's not how we hang at home. At home, when a guest walks in, this is what we do. At home, when you receive a call, this is what we do. When it's dinner time, this is what we do. Traditions, expectations of one another. So in this special edition, I sought to seek, how can I nurture that relationship at home before I show up at work? And it was powerful. You don't want to miss that edition. Go on to YouTube, which is LMC Consultancy, and watch the rerun and share, subscribe. We're doing so badly on the followers there. But I kind of understand the algorithms and the things that I need to do. But for now, go there and get some gems while it's still in its raw form. Now, today we look at navigations. Now that you know what your values are, how then do you navigate your family vision? So the question that begs today is, how are you navigating that family vision? I'd like for you to just drop a few comments here and I will be able to sample them. Once we move on from there, we'll be looking at priorities. Now that we're in a different season, how do certain priorities shift? Because things are not always the same. You know, change is inevitable. It's going to happen. Are you ready to meet change? Or are you stuck in your ways? Are you like the generations of before that refused to be flexible? It was either their way or the highway, you know, and where does that get you? In fact, if anything, there's a whole generation of traumatized individuals because of that approach to parenting. That's why we have the intentional parenting series. And I do hope that you're getting gems from this. So after priorities, we go to expectations. Because in every scenario, somebody's expecting something. And until you're aware of that, you're never going to communicate. I'm going to read from the Good Book. In the Good Book, which is my Holy Bible, I will read from Habakkuk 2:2-3, and I will read. It says, write it down. Write down the vision. Write it clearly on clay tablets so that whoever reads it will run to tell others. Did you hear that? Even in the Good Book, it talks about the vision. So do you have a vision for your family? You see, a vision gives direction and a glimpse into our lives. Think about it, a vision. It helps us to realize our goals and our purpose, for you to be able to understand where you're coming from and hopefully where you're going as a family is key. Because once you have an understanding of this, you are able to guide your family accordingly, effectively. But you've got to get it together first. So that is from the Good Book. And there we're talking about Habakkuk 2:2-3. So the question still begs, how are you navigating your family vision? God has even put it down for us that we need to navigate a vision. That means you need to have a vision. So today I'm going to look at how small steps count and how flexibility is important so that it's not confusing anymore. It is confusing because there's no vision. It's confusing because there's no direction. It's confusing because liwe liwalo, like we say in Kiswahili, let it be. But we cannot let it be when we have a family, a group of people who subscribe to certain core values, of which we've already covered in decision making, but I'm going to touch a little bit on that. So let's start with the first step, the long terms. Identify the long terms. Whatever it is, you may have a few ways you want to live. So there's a long-term goal. And this is important that you identify it for your family. So maybe it could be about building strong character. I'm just going to break it down a little bit. It could be about building strong character. What does that mean for you? You have to understand it first. Well, I remember one of the things that I built with my children who are now adult children. That's why experientially I can come from that place, is effective communication. And I can see my that I hope I can stay with you. If I'm losing you, my apologies. Stay with me. We will get the program very clear by the end of this. So it was about effective communication. And this was something that I felt was a value. Maybe because I'm the kind of person who needs to understand the assignment. By the time I'm applying myself and I'm pouring myself into there, I need to come from a point of understanding the assignment. And so communication is key. And we all know here that communication is a full loop. You're either just telling somebody and they don't receive and understand, or you are speaking, dialogue, communicating, and you get the feedback that somebody has understood what you're saying, and you can see it being demonstrated in their action. So lo and behold, when we talk about communication and effective communication, I was then finding opportunities to send this message home with my children. So if we watched movies, it was one of those things of, so I got something to do with communication there. What did you see happening there? What does that mean for you? If it was reading books, then they read and then there's comprehension, because by the time you come back and tell me what this book was about, means you understood the message and you were able to tell somebody else about this book. We talked about the good book, which is the Holy Bible. So when we went to church and the homily was given out, when we were in the car, they always knew. And at that age, when they were little, they were scrambling to say exactly what the priest said. So what did the priest say? What did you understand? Communication. Was it understood so that it can be demonstrated in behavior? So being able to understand what that is for you, it could be communication like the way I want it with my family, and aligning it to daily activities. Suddenly you have all these ideas as a parent, as a guardian, to be able to bring to life that core value. So whether it is communication, whether it is building strong character, whether it is fostering creativity, or just being able to cultivate independence, whatever it is for you, it has to be for you. It has to be for you. So the question then is, have you and your partner or your spouse or the people in your home who are raising these children, have you aligned your goals? Because remember, you're coming from different backgrounds. In this home, this is what you subscribe to. In this other home, this is what you subscribe to. But now when we join, we are creating a new home. We cannot assume that what happened in my home is the way we are going to bring up our children in this home that now we've created together. The awareness that that needs to be shifting works towards our long-term goals. So the first step is align your thoughts, your wish list for your preferred outcome. Have that conversation. Please do not assume, because when you assume, you're going to get yourself into trouble. So whether you're aiming to raise compassionate beings, whether you're aiming to have children who have a deeper empathetic approach to life, it comes from you deciding what it is that you want to do. So the question still is, how are then you navigating your family vision? And I'm not seeing any comments that are coming on right here, apart from Alicia saying facts and Rhoda saying vibes. So Rhoda, I'm going to share the information with you. Well, if you're still struggling, I have the course that is the Core Values course. It's on the 28th and 29th of October. It's in the evening, 7:30 to 9 p.m. It is virtual and the cost is 1,000 shillings. And just like Rhoda, if you drop vibes here, in fact, I'm just going to write it down. So we've got Rhoda, who is looking to be part of that particular training workshop. It's only 90 minutes an evening. The first evening we identify, the second evening we align them with our daily actions. And therefore I promise you an exciting time in this core values for 1,000 shillings. So just drop vibes here in the comments and I'll be able to get back to you. But for today's question, how do you navigate your family vision? So maybe you do not have a family yet. You aspire to have a family, and that's why you're here, to see what kind of gems there are out there, opportunities to be able to inform the direction with which your family can go towards. Well, what you want to do is share with us in the family that you're in right now. What is the vision? And how is that being navigated? How is it making sense to you? Yeah, so that's the first step. Identifying your long-term goals. The second step is incremental value. In today's world, we've got what you call a microwave society, where we want things to happen pop, pop, right on the spot. Well, they happen, but it's not sustainable at all. All that energy just fizzles out. So the slow burn is what you need to be going for. And this slow burn equates to breaking down your long-term goals into actionable steps. And here we look at inclusivity. So it doesn't matter what age the children are at, the actionable daily steps are age appropriate. So you could have a toddler and you'll be saying to them, in this particular value or visions that we are driving towards, this is the part that you play. Maybe they don't understand what a vision is, but you break it down into child speak. Now, when they become teenagers, there's a lot of adolescence and a lot of hormones going crazy. Look for the language to communicate to them effectively, to have buy-in. Sell them the benefit. And by the time you get this down pat, when your children are adults, it's so much easier to relate to them because it's something you have done as they grow up. It doesn't mean to say that if you never did it, today is not a good place to start. It is. Start today, but that just means that you as the adult need to show up as that core value, as that vision that you envision your family to have. Because at the end of the day, like I said in Kenyanese, when somebody wants to describe your family, they're going to describe you on the fundamentals, like I said. I know I'm teasing my clan's people, but that's what we say back home, fundamentals. Those fundamentals are the ones that describe who you are as a family. And they come rooted as core values. You will know that in that home, they are principled. In that home, they are creative. In that home, they are loving, or they are humble, or a whole group of core values. In fact, when we meet on the 28th and 29th, we break it down to at least 3 or 4 values, because if there are too many, then we are spreading ourselves thin. But if we have 3 or 5, then we apply ourselves. Lovely to see you there, Wakio. I always love it when you join us. Karibu sana. We are talking here about navigating intentional parenting, and we are looking at the vision. And today we are speaking from that aspect of Habakkuk 2:2-3, which is the good book. The good book says, write down the vision. It says, write it clearly on clay tablets. Whoever reads it will run and tell others. So what are we suggesting here, Wakio? We are suggesting that when you are able to have a vision for your family, when you're not in the room, this is how people are going to describe you. So why don't you work from that premise? Figure out what is it that you want to do as a family? What do you want to be seen as? And then apply daily actions to it. So we're talking about those small steps. We're talking about inclusivity. So whether it's a toddler, whether it is a young child, whether it's a teenager, whether it's a 21-year-old, or in my case, whether it's a 30-year-old, you are still the parent. You are still the role model. Kazi kwako. So you decide what that vision is, and if you didn't do it in the past, today is a very good day to start. Have a conversation and say, you know what, guys, been there, done that. This is what I am imagining for us to do. And now because they're adults, there's inclusivity. You gotta have buy-in. Why do we do that on negotiation tables in the corporate world and think that we can't do it at home? Once your children are adults, this is a space where we have a table where everybody comes in and we discuss, we dialogue. A lot of respect comes from there because there's buy-in and we can all own it. So those small achievable steps, it could be, yes, somebody's waving. Lovely to see you here, Zawadi. Lovely to see you here, Nafsi. Karibuni sana. So we are looking at small intentional steps which become incremental value. Remember, we're looking at sustainability. We don't want things to happen overnight because then they're not sustainable. Anything that is valuable takes time. It takes time. You want to be able to get a diamond, therefore you have to crack through all the stone to get to the heart of the stone, which is then the diamond. And then that is sustainable. The beauty of that is sustainable. So is it reading together each night with your children? So younger, it could be 1 page, it could be 1 chapter. In my case, the communication then stepped in. What did you learn? What did you understand? How then can you apply this in your life? As a teenager, then how do we do that? As an adult child, how then do we do that? The constant person in all this is you, the adult. How are you showing up? How are you showing up? So that's the second one. The third one is fluidity in the face of life, because life happens. There's this guy called Murphy. If you don't know him, his full name is Murphy's Law. That's his full name in my book, because everything that you plan is bound to have a bump, a hole, a valley, a mountain. This is how you perceived it to be. In my case, this is how I perceived my life to be. But my life then has gone like this. But in so doing, resilience, that setback has been a platform for me to come back. I'm here today talking to you experientially. I am speaking about personal experiences. Maybe in years gone by, when I was in the moment, I just imagined I'd never get out of this. And I used choice words to describe my situation. Perhaps I cursed. But now I know that a setback is just a platform for a comeback. So how is this applying to you? How are you navigating your family vision? What is it that you have moderated in your life, whether through patience or tolerance, through anger, anxiety, that you can now pivot in your mind and change the narrative that, whoa, this too shall pass. Because no situation is permanent. Whether a good situation is not permanent. Whether a bad situation is not permanent. Take the lessons, take your wins and move through. Because today we're talking about what truly matters in intentional parenting for your children. Oh, Akio, you have written me a whole paragraph. Anything that is valuable takes time. Preach, preach, preach. Fantastic. Preach. Our children are growing in an environment of immediate gratification. Word. So true. You know, the microwave generation and gratification and short-term attention span. So true, Wakil. Thank you for sharing that. And now we're asking, how do we navigate generational animosity? Wow. That is a deep one. Thank you for just bringing it all into a summary. In Wikali, you say set up. Actually, it is set back for a comeback, but actually it sets you up for a comeback. Thank you so much, ladies, for, at least I'm feeling like I'm not alone now. I got people here, people who are hearing this message. And please share with me. Itzai, whoa, all the way from Southern Africa. Lovely to see you here, Itzai. It's been a minute. Today we are talking about intentional parenting and how then do you navigate your family vision, suggesting that you need to have one. So if you do not have a family vision, I'm sure you have one for your business. Come back and create a family vision, a mutually beneficial family vision now, and start working towards it. And I'm encouraging you to start from your core values. If you're challenged, join me on the 28th and 29th of October for the core values training. It's going to be 180 minutes virtually, and we're going to be talking about identifying your values. So I'm going to be looking at value listing. And I can see I'm dropping off now. My internet is misbehaving. I hope you can hear me and see me. Oh, technology can really let you down. Technology can really let you down. Well, let's see as it comes back. I hope that you can hear me clearly. Rhoda, am I back? Can you hear me clearly, or do I need... thank you so much. Thank you so much, Wakio. Thank you so much. I'm talking about the core values. In case you are struggling, then you want to be able to join me on the 28th and 29th. Drop vibes right here. Just drop vibes and we will talk about core values. And with these vibes, it's going to be something very simple. It's going to be about your values, your intention. It's going to be about your behavior. It's going to be about empowerment and success. You do not want to miss this. Share, share, share. Eunice, asante sana. It's great to see you here. Well, those are the three things that I promised you today, because as we answer this question, I was seeking to look at the small steps and the flexibility. So focusing on balancing long-term parenting goals and with the demands of life. You know, life happens. This guy called Murphy, he brings in his law and he just dirties the waters. But if you stay focused, on that vision, these hills and valleys and milima na mabonde, as we say in Kiswahili, are going to keep you on track. All roads lead to Jijazie. So by identifying your goals, by breaking them down into actionable steps and having inclusivity from your family and remaining flexible in the face of our daily lives, can make meaningful progress while managing our lifestyles. So guys, I always promise you 3 takeaways. And the first takeaway is align your goals as parents. That means sit down. Whether you're a single parent, whether you're in a home where there's guka shosho, or there's aunties, there's uncles, or you've got a significant other, whatever your family setting is, we need a vision. So sit down, everybody, and decide Where are we going and how are we going and what does it mean for us? Get those actionable steps on inclusivity. And then last but not least, be ready to adapt and evolve. Be ready to adapt and evolve. Somebody can just drop it for me there in the chat. Be ready to adapt and evolve. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. The recording of this episode will be available on our YouTube channel, LMC Consultancy, by this evening. Hop on there and subscribe, and you will get some updates from us. I'm suffering here because my particular YouTube channel is not doing as well as it's supposed to be doing. But one day when I grow up, it's going to get there. Our next episode is on priorities, focusing on what matters most in this intentional parenting journey. In the meantime, our social media platforms continue to educate and inspire you. Now, season 3 of my podcast, Skillful She, is out. And here's another drop for me. So the first one was drop vibes for you to get your registration link to the core values. Now I'm asking you to drop me for you to be able to get a link to my Spotify, which is Skillful She, at the latest episode of season 3. So we're on season 3, episode 1. You want to drop me here, or just get onto Spotify and search for Skillful She by Lucy Macridis and get listening. Share with people, as many people to listen to this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Wakio. I can see, but you've not dropped vibes there. Drop me. I will drop you both. Asante sana. In fact, I'm just putting it down here, Wakio. Definitely, I'll be dropping you a message. Let us help to build each other. Until then, be kind to yourselves. Bye-bye now.